Michael Reuter's story, which is a family story and a very, very personal story, is fascinating. Like far too many Baltimore stories, it begins with horror. All right, well, I'm going through my Michael Reuter notebook for when he sort of began this project. I asked him his earliest memory. Somewhere along the line, somebody told me that some of our most profound truths are in our oldest memories.
Michael was the second of my 4 children, born in 1986 here in Baltimore.
Michael was kind of always like my little shadow. It was always nice having somebody look up to me as a kid, so I loved it. I loved having a little brother.
What's your baby's name?
Peyton.
What?
Peyton.
Kara?
Michael's childhood and adolescence were comfortable. He had a loving family, lived in a safe middle-class neighborhood, and he never struggled to make friends.
It says here something I would not have remembered, but which I think is key to his charisma and the kind of guy he is. He was the homecoming king of his senior class.
The thing about Michael is people want to be around him, if that makes any sense. I mean, I think he exudes a really positive kind of aura that, you know, people love and they kind of can't get enough of sometimes.
There's so many people that consider Mike to be one of their best friends. Anybody that's friends with Mike thinks they're one of his best friends, because that's how he makes you feel.
He loves to be around people. He loves to get reactions out of people. And I think that's just because he likes to see people happy.
Here we go. Makes mom's happy. Hello. Happy Mother's Day. We're here wishing happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, guys.
Video. 1, 2, 3. Moms.
Says he met his Uncle Wayne for the first time when he was a little kid, maybe 5 or 6 years old. He was always wearing dark shades, always wearing dark Ray-Bans and a gold necklace, always a gold chain, looking fresh, smelling good.
Wayne was like the most loving guy. He never had any kids of his own, so he treated my kids like his kids.
He was an awesome uncle. Growing up, I mean, he really took care of us. You could tell he really cared about us.
Apparently, you know, again, this is the cool uncle. This is the fun uncle. This is the uncle that seems like he stepped right out of the movies and into your life.
You know, I always joke that, like, I know Pimlico like the back of my hand. And that I was picking trifectas before I knew how to read.
Apparently, Sean and Michael started going to the track with their uncle when they were little kids. And when Wayne bought ice cream for Sean and Michael, he'd buy ice cream for every little kid hanging around the track.
Michael's Uncle Wayne was a jeweler. He owned a small shop just inside the city line in northwest Baltimore, where he dealt in precious metals, diamonds, jewelry, and watches. Michael worked with Wayne in his senior year of college, and after graduating in 2008, he started working with him full-time.
Well, I think once Michael started working there, the relationship changed a little bit, just because Michael was around Uncle Wayne all the time, so he's like learning stuff from Uncle Wayne, which was good.
Michael idolized him. Michael was with him 24/7, you know, and in fact, Wayne was like a big kid. If Michael went out with his friends, Wayne might show up.
Wayne was a guy that if you went out with him, you were definitely going to have a good time. It was fun. He would drink and hang out and chat up the girls. Mike has a lot of his characteristics.
On December 25th, 2009, Wayne and Michael had a Christmas dinner together with the family. They both had planned to work the next day, but Michael left around 11 p.m. to drive to his girlfriend's house, where he stayed up late and drank until 4 in the morning. The next day, Michael was hungover, and instead of going to work, he went back to his parents' house and took a nap. In the early afternoon, after his nap, Michael called his uncle twice. No answer either time.
He said to me, it was around 4 in the afternoon, he was going to go over to the store and check on things or whatever, because Wayne would never go. Michael tried calling him a couple times. Wayne would never not answer his call.
When Michael pulled up to the store, he saw his uncle's car parked in the front. And walking into the shop, Michael bore witness to something that would forever change his life.
I remember being in the basement where my brother has his studio, and we got the call from Mike, and I remember him saying, something's happened, something's happened, I think Wayne's dead.
My mom called me and she was like crying and she was like, I think Uncle Wayne is dead.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. Today's date is December the 26th, 2009. The time is now 7:45 p.m. My name is Detective Roscoe Lewis of the Baltimore City Homicide Unit, along with Mr. Michael Reuter. Mr. Reuter, state your full name, please.
Michael Andrew Reuter.
How old are you, sir?
23.
Now, your uncle, what's the relationship besides being uncle and nephew?
It was like pretty much we're very like best friends. He knows everything about me. I know everything about him.
You work together?
And I worked with him, yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone that you know of that may want to do harm to your uncle?
The only thing I thought of when this happened was there's a guy I know named Steve who had dealt with my uncle before, just a regular transaction, whatever. Maybe he had like some diamonds or gold and he sold it to my uncle, whatever. Nothing. And then Steve came to him recently. He knew some guys in New York with a lot of gold, and he indicated to my uncle that it was stolen. And he had come back, and my uncle eventually told him he's not going to do it.
So your uncle dealt with Steve in the past?
He has, yeah. Okay. But I never knew, it was regular transactions. It never was anything given that it was stolen or anything like that. But this was given. He told my uncle that was hot shit, so.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add to your statement, Mike?
This is just this whole Steve part of it's just only me going off of, it's recent. It was, if those guys from New York were here, and Steve maybe told him, you could rob them. There's no cameras. I know these guys, they got cash or something. That's the only reason I'm going on a limb about this guy, Steve. That's just the only possible person I know that would know anything.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for your assistance. This concludes this statement. The time is now 8 o'clock p.m. Nothing's to follow. So I asked Sean, did the murder affect Michael differently than it affected you? And Sean, the oldest of the 4 Reuter kids, says, I think it did. He actually saw the brutality. He actually saw Wayne dead.
I knew. I was like, man, you don't come back from something like that. Like, I remember thinking that. I was like, that will fuck somebody up, for sure.
Yeah, it was a super upsetting kind of situation because Mike was supposed to be at work that day. The thought that kept running through our head is it could have been him, should have been him. Thank God it wasn't. So there was a relief to it, but there was a paranoia that maybe it wasn't done. So I remember for a long time thinking, are they trying to, because they probably knew that Mike knew, would they try to find it to finish the job so that he wouldn't talk?
Getting back to ordinary life was proving to be difficult. So Michael moved back home with his parents.
He came back here and basically went through a really bad depression. Couldn't get off the sofa, for a long time.
In addition to the depression, there was anxiety and crippling panic attacks. He went to a therapist for a few months, but he eventually stopped going, choosing instead to cope on his own terms.
It's a strange thing when somebody's going through a life-altering experience. You want them to feel comfortable, and that meant that we had to go to Atlantic City for the night. Well, I mean, it was fun.
$1,000, baby. That's $1,000 to start off the trip. Burn!
Most of what we were trying to do was have a good time, to forget about what had happened, or to live a memory that they had shared together, meaning Mike and Wayne, or us and Wayne, in a way that reminded us of our past experiences, but then we were together at that moment and we were having a good time.
Jogging out to the park. Gonna do some fucking sprints. How bad do you fucking want it? How bad do you want it?
The funny thing about Michael is he's like, he can really fool you into thinking like he's doing fine.
It's 6 years after Michael found his uncle murdered in their store. And at the age of 29, he's the co-owner of a successful real estate title company.
Anecdotally, I think Michael's just like doing really well business-wise. That was the other thing, kind of. I mean, he was still managing to really do well business-wise and better than most people could do sober.
Although Michael was consuming alcohol at an excessive rate, on the positive side of things, he was able to get back to being the extrovert that he naturally is. But just as Michael was reintegrating himself into normal life, tragically, he had to suffer another loss.
To watch your dad fight cancer is nearly an impossible thing to do. Daryl, being so strong, having so much love for us, he didn't show weakness. Never showed us he was scared, never showed us he was nervous. Thank you all. Dad, I love you.
On June 20th, a day before Michael's father was buried, state prosecutors indicted Stanislav Stephen Yelizarov in the 2009 killing of Michael's Uncle Wayne.
It was crazy because my husband always said, I'll never go to my grave until I found out who murdered my brother. And that's the honest to God truth. The night before, we all found out who the killer was. And my husband didn't go to his grave, not knowing.
For the past few years, while Michael had given up hope of seeking justice for his uncle's killer, his father had become fixated on the case.
Michael's dad, Daryl, kept writing letters to the FBI saying, take a look at this one particular individual. This is the guy that killed my brother.
I knew he had reached out to the FBI, and I knew he worked on it for quite a long time with the FBI, but my husband didn't tell me everything, like he didn't want me to worry.
After my dad died, it just, there was a lot of worrying about Michael.
All those months, 15, 16 months, however long it was, I hardly ever slept. I was a nervous wreck. We would often try to talk him into getting help, but he would always say, I'm okay, and when you knew he wasn't.
Let's go!
That's so much funny.
He operated on us like a time bomb. And it was
be honest with you, it was sad to watch. You know, it almost was like he was crumbling.
Eat the chicken tender. I'm the best, aren't I? You are the best. You're not the best if you don't eat the fucking chicken tender. Open your goddamn mouth. I'm the best in the world.
You see people, they go from being fun to be around, and then, you know, somebody that takes it too far.
All right, Mike. Are you think you're gonna make the ride off the ski lift? Dude, we're really high up right now.
It's not just about having fun anymore. It's about your ability to cope with life on a daily basis, and this is how you do it.
You ready? Dude, if you make this run, we're good. I bet you don't make this run.
He was spiraling, and I think it was him coping with all these external factors in his life that aren't going. They were out of his control.
In 2009, Michael was murdered in his jewelry store. Someone came in, brutally murdered him, found him several hours later, lying face down on the floor. Dragged to the back, shirt was pulled up, there's bullets all in him, shot up all through his body. Shot through the back of his head. All these years later, found the person who did it. Fucking coming for him.
Walking into the United States Attorney's Office to Uncle Wayne's pre-murder trial preparation.
All things considered, Michael was willing to help with the case. But it was a heavy weight because he had to relive the events and the trauma involved.
Just finished the pre-trial prep for Wayne's murder. It was about 3 hours. Fucking hard. It's intense. Basically just had to go through, you know, the whole time frame of everything from start to finish.
He's the glue that holds his family together. And being the glue and you know, being a connector of, we'll just talk about your family unit. That's a great compliment, but that's a whole lot of responsibility.
Here in Ocean City, 4th of July, packing a fat lip. Got the family and the girlfriend and all the other fucking bullshit behind me. Going to the boardwalk. Fucking not really sure the point of this. Life is shit. Back in the day.
During this bout of sobriety, Michael was focused on growing his business. His real estate title company was flourishing, and revenue was increasing.
Once he was able to reach a level where the money could change other people's lives more than his own, I think that's when the focus got more sharp.
Michael always talks about how he wants to take care of me, and this is his main goal for working as hard as he does.
I'm giving my mom $10,000 in cash on Father's Day.
I know that all the work that he does is going towards his goal of helping the family and taking care of them first before he even takes care of himself.
Is he serious? Yes, he's serious and crazy.
He's just that kind of guy.
10,000 big ones, baby.
Come on, Mia. Swallow it and poop it out later.
What's up, LaCroix? You know that I crave ya. With 20 choices, I love every flavor. I like to sip a lot, like how the bubbles pop. Sure think I'll never stop. Welcome to the flavor drop. Now back to the pure lemon lime, orange and the berry. Really, really like them, it's kinda scary. Crisp, clean, clear, and for everything cure. Come on, y'all, you gotta try the pure. Now take me to heaven, a 7-Eleven, anywhere I can go to grab a can of lemon. She never a teaser, always a crowd pleaser. She fine, a 1 + 9, a dime, gotta make a mind, that is the line. Dang, really, really love the tang, I savor it. My absolute favorite, the orange. Have one, then orange, you're gonna have another one? It's startling, it's sparkling, it's marketing, it's marveling. Down on one knee, I always say I do. The berry, I will marry you. Now Coke and Pepsi, you always gotta hate, cause I rejuvenate. I'm 0 cal, 0 fat, and 0 carbohydrate. Sorry y'all, that's just me being me. A straight G that's delicious and sodium free. So sit back, relax, and join me with some delicious snacks and check out my nutrition facts. It's what I'm about, LaCroix boy, over and out.
When we talk about personal branding, this is not an easy thing, but Mike doesn't struggle with that. If you talk to anybody that knows Mike, one of the first things that they'll say about him is, everybody likes Mike. Not hard to build a personal brand out of something like that.
Michael took a deep dive into social media marketing and personal branding. He was producing a wide array of content for businesses, while also promoting his own brand as a social media content creator, entertainer, and real estate influencer.
Hey guys, Michael Ruder, Masters Title Escrow. We're gonna go over a few things here today. When you're working here in business, okay, when you're getting referrals, you're working with others, you wanna do 2 things. You wanna stay fit, okay, because that's gonna keep you sexy, okay? And people wanna work with people who are fit and sexy, okay? So we're gonna crunch some of these out. The mind, the body, the soul, they're all connected. Don't drink tap water. Drink this expensive shit. It just radiates, work with me, work with me. Let's not forget.
He's one of those people that realized kind of early on that you can have a separation between your business and yourself from that standpoint, and you can almost end up growing yourself bigger than the business.
America, we got the youth here. These kids are gonna kick ass, they're gonna own all the businesses and run this country, right?
When the attention creates like that engagement, like he loves that. He loves when people are like, you did a good job. He likes that reinforcement.
Now that Pat's married, he's finally got it made. He's been waiting a long time to finally get... No, he's been waiting to add Alyssa to the title. It's free to add a spouse to title in Maryland. Now they're married, he can add her to the title. If anyone's buying or selling a house, hit me up, I'm in real estate. But
I think that's what we're all chasing. We're all chasing the pat on the back. And it's like, then we get a pat on the back and then we're like, I really like that, I want more of that.
Getting ready to go face the man who murdered Uncle Wayne. This is for my dad. Wanted this so bad. Day he was buried was the day this fucking scumbag was charged. Went right up to heaven, did his part. I worked with the FBI, United States Attorney's Office, for many years. Now it's time to do my part. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking do this. Never felt more alive and ready for something in my life. I'll keep you posted. I love you.
Steven Yelizarov is his fucking name. Got scared to face the motherfucking music. He knew he was going fucking down. And he has pled guilty to killing Uncle Wayne. Motherfucker, we found who did it. We fucking got him! Game over, bitch! Woo!
After the whole sentencing was over, and I remember Michael met a friend, and they went out to Atlantic City and started drinking all over again.
375 days.
Even though in his head at that point, it's over. They got the guy, he's put away, he's gone, we can move on with our lives. You're still haunted by the trauma, the memories, the good memories of that person, things that remind you of that person. He was looking for outs. He was looking for ways to escape the real world and increase those dopamine levels to the point where he could forget for a short while what he either saw or had to run from.
Get out, get the car going.
On August 23, 2018, things had reached a tipping point.
So I got a call from Michael that night that he wanted me to come pick him up.
Michael had been sleepless for 72 straight hours. He was delirious from the drugs and alcohol, and he was suffering from a day-long panic attack.
On the way to the hospital, I guess I was afraid he might die on the way, because really, at that point, I couldn't trust him, to know what he really took, if he was telling me the truth or not.
At the hospital, nurses did a blood test. They found alarming levels of alcohol and cocaine in his system. But it wasn't until Michael expressed suicidal thoughts that they admitted him to the hospital.
I think he finally realized whatever he took that night that I took him to the hospital that made him feel so bad. He was saying, now that I recollect on the way to the hospital, I'll never do this again. And in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, right, you'll get out of this one and you'll start doing it again.
All right, checking into rehab. Got my boy Lewis with me. They just took my bags. They're getting my room ready. Look at this. Look at this here. We got basketball courts out here, some table tennis. None of the drug addicts are playing basketball. Lewis, thanks for the lift. See y'all on the other side.
When I was having anxiety, depression, alcohol problems, that's just getting by. I was just faking it. It was just acting. So back here, we had one big wall here. I knocked that down, painted everything the same throughout the whole way. Tomorrow they'll come in and put LVT flooring down here in the basement, and I'll make this kind of like a realtor, Baltimore City, networking lounge, hangout area. Probably put a pool table in here, maybe some arcade games, some slot machines, be a wet bar over there. People drink, hang out, socialize, do some work, whatever they want to do. There's 2 big offices on the ends, 2 big corner suites, and 4 in the middle. And you come up here, this is 5th floor, Sky Lounge. So when someone purchases a home, settles, they'll take the elevator up, come out here, get a bottle of champagne, a picture on the roof overlooking Baltimore City. It's also an area we'll have happy hours and events, things like that. Yoga on the roof. Kind of want to put a mini putt-putt course up here. Whatever you need, come to me. Fucking, tell me what you want. If you want to do 20 deals a month, we'll get you 20 deals a month, that's it. You're happy there, that's it. But if you're like, I want to fucking do 50, then we're going to find a way to get you to do 50, but you got to put in the work, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do what I can to make sure that whatever goals you want to reach, you can reach them. But at the end of the day, just wanting it's not enough. You have to want it and you have to do the work. So we don't have to go over any of the motivation or sales shit, we'll do that later, but we'll get all this shit. I love working hard and I love making money. I've been fortunate enough that I'm starting to become very successful, I feel like. And the building's good credibility and the investment properties and the income and helping other people make money, all that kind of stuff's great, and it's great credibility. But the value in doing something that illustrates my real personal story and somebody come up to me and say, hey man, it took a lot of guts, you really helped me, I actually went through this, and this, and then we end up having an actual meeting to talk about what they've been through, a personal trauma or obstacle, and it happens now all the time. The value in that is more valuable than any amount of money I've ever made.
Yeah, it was because there was a connection made.
Yeah.
Right? And so we right now live in an era where we have the ability to build an entire business around ourselves, our story, what we've done, and it's what people want to watch.
Hey, it's Ted McGrath, and welcome to Message to Millions again. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how do you design your personal story in a way that, number one, attracts customers, number two, grows your brand, and three, your story is your message. As an expert, you are the brand. It's your knowledge, your wisdom. As a speaker, you're the brand. And I'm just going to dive in this video to show you how to design the story in a way so that you can tell it.
Rafael, I want to try to write a speech, put together some sort of a presentation to try and help and inspire others. Yeah, it's a motivational thing. I mean, look, I just need you, I need you to help me polish it, structure it. Obviously, that's your area of expertise, not mine. I want to make sure it's something possibly impactful, help other people. Okay. All right, Tuesday. Thanks, man. I'll see you there. Appreciate it. Bye. It's like I have these, I like to call them these invisible scars. When I know other people know about it, it's like the healing power involved in talking about it is unbelievable.
So just then, why don't you start by telling me what part you want to address first?
I guess you want to just start on page 1 and then.
Sure.
Okay, so it starts out obviously just telling the story like it's happening and people are there with me. You know, I walked into the jewelry store, found Uncle Wayne murdered. I mean, the way he was found with the blood, the location, and then when I flipped him around and held his.
But before that, you actually held him in your arms, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And was he face down when you found him, or face up?
Face down.
You turned him.
Yeah, in my lap.
Okay, and the bullets were both in his head and his body?
Yeah, 10 in his head, 5 in his body.
In the back of the head?
Mm-hmm. I can vividly, like it happened a minute ago.
Oh, you'll never forget.
Remember the holes in his back,
Mm-hmm.
right? At first, because I remember at first I thought it was like a knife wound or something, you know, a little gash.
See, now you don't have that in here, but that's what's going to engage your audience.
Yeah. And the thing is also, it's my story too, so it's easy for me to tell. I just want to tell it the right way with your help, obviously.
Yeah, I think we're working on structure and some nuance here, and then we'll get to the really, really big part, which is what is the true heart of this document.
The thing that really got me kicked off is watching. They're called Goalcast videos. Basically, they're just videos and their stories, people's personal stories, and majority of them, actually almost all of them, I feel like they're like triumph over tragedy stories.
And I'm right behind my father, about to see her for the last time on this earth. And my father shared 3 words with me that changed my life right there at the casket. He said, "Son, you keep standing. No matter what, you don't give up."
Oh my God, it's like watching that, I'm just like,
I'm talking to you today.
I just want to fucking do great things with like the powers I've been given from the journey I've been on. Like crazy things. I am literally crazy, but I want to do great things at watching that. I mean, it's fucking awesome, dude. When I left the hospital after hitting rock bottom, I made a decision to seek help. I needed to figure out how to become the best version of myself, which was a challenge because the Michael Reuter I'd known my whole life no longer existed. For way too long, I played victim, pointed fingers, and felt sorry for myself. But when I decided to seek help and change my attitude and mindset, I found an endless amount of power and motivation in my trauma, pain, and failures. The most important message I can provide to others through my story is this: you have to find what drives you and brings you happiness. You're going to fail and you're going to have obstacles, but how you react to your failures and obstacles will be what defines you. Do you let them break you, or do you learn from them and grow stronger? Through the ordeal of what I've been describing, I developed a superpower. That superpower is the power to know what makes me happy. If my father had not died and my uncle was never murdered, I would never have fallen to rock bottom and be standing before you today.
All right, so you want me to go?
Yeah, and I want you to pretend that you're on stage, and I'm going to only interrupt you if I feel it's necessary.
I woke up the morning after Christmas, hungover from celebrating at my girlfriend's house. I went home, took a nap. I was supposed to meet my uncle at our jewelry store that day. I woke up, called my uncle repeatedly.
Hold on a second.
I deleted this part out before.
No, you said woke up twice. I know you woke up in the morning and then you woke up from a nap, but I don't think we need both the woke
Okay,
up.
let me start it here. Ready? We'll do it with this,
Yep.
okay? Wayne, my uncle, my best friend, was face down on the floor, sprawled in a pool of blood, murdered.
Perfect.
Stepping over broken glass and bullet casings, got down on my knees, turned my uncle over, placed his face in my lap. He had 10 bullet shots in his face, 5 in his body. Gently, I laid his head on the floor, called 911. Help! This is Michael Reuter. My uncle's been shot. The police arrive. I try to speak, but my lips are trembling and I'm shivering.
That's very good. That's very, very good.
Oh, good.
It sounds new to me.
Fast forward a bit. By now it's 2015 and my father has become ill, very ill with prostate cancer. 8 months later, on June 17th, 2016, I'm holding my dad in a hospice bed as he gasps for air, each breath farther from the last. My arms wrapped around his chest, my mouth at his ear, and I beg him, I whisper, Dad, let go, let go. Go be with Uncle Wayne, we love you, go be with your brother. One tear falls from his eye. He takes his last breath. At this point, I'm running a successful real estate title and escrow company. At least I believe I look successful to the outside world, but it's all an act.
Hold on a second. When you say, and I'm hoping that you do memorize this, that last line, that's a moment where you look right at the audience.
Oh, yeah.
You look up and you say, look at me. At least I think I look successful. You know,
Yeah.
and that, because they can connect to that of somebody who's putting on a front.
Yeah, I'm running a successful real estate title. I'm running a successful real estate title and escrow company. At least I believe I look successful to the outside world, but it's all an act. I'm now 33. I believe I finally know what's truly important in life. Life's a journey. There are ups and downs, good times and bad, but I know it motivates me, drives me, and pulls me to be the best version of myself.
Hold on a second. This whole last
That's
two-
all the same shit, right?
Yeah, and after all the drama of this incredible personal journey, that sounds like gobbledygook.
Yeah, it's all the same shit, right?
Yeah, cross a lot of that out.
Okay. Okay.
You want to share, you don't want to preach.
Edit, cut most.
Yep.
A lot of this is like language that I use when I'm giving sales presentations because you have to like fill in these gaps of like, okay, if you want to obtain a goal, you can't just want to, you have to. So,
Yeah.
so that's like where I come from. So it's hard for me.
And your personal history is not for sale.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is that each time we're together, we strip away more of the sales and get to more of the heart.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and it's not your fault that there's still some sales in there. That's
Yeah.
who you are,
Mhm.
right? And you do live in multiple worlds. People need to believe that this is as sincere as Jimmy Carter, who doesn't go around the world giving speeches for $1 million. He goes to horrible neighborhoods and builds houses.
When I left the hospital after hitting rock bottom, I made a decision to seek help. I needed to figure out how to be the best version of myself, the best version of Michael Reuter. I gave up drugs and alcohol, I began eating healthy and investing all my time and effort into doing all the things I believe would help me improve, excel, and grow my business and grow myself.
From everyone at Masters Title, thank you so much, seriously, everybody for being here. We're super appreciative. We couldn't have done any of it without all of you, friends, family, especially you realtors. Really like you guys a lot.
Each and every day, I grew stronger, healthier, and happier. My family was at peace. My business was projected to close at over $2 million in sales, a 60% increase from the year before. Through the ordeal of what I've been describing, I developed a superpower. That superpower is the power to know what truly matters in life. I am inviting you to either go on this ride this year with me or not. It's fucking up to you. I'm not telling anyone. For me, that day was finding my uncle murdered, watching my dad die a slow death from cancer. I'm now 34 and finally able to recognize what's truly important in life. It's how you respond and decide to react to the bad days, traumatic situations, obstacles, and struggles that will shape who you are.
The response from people is so transformational because I'm willing to go into the pit because the pit equals transformation and vulnerability. And I feel like if you don't have that, you don't have a story.
I've suffered setbacks, traumas, death, yet I've been able to find my superpower. So I stand here before you today and ask, what is your superpower? What is your journey to happiness?
Okay. We got to get to the heart of the matter here, brother.
Should I pull up the rewrite?
If you want to. But really, what I want your response is to be from the gut
I think we're more there now.
and not from, oh, we're definitely more there now, but we have a huge sticking point. The Achilles heel of this thing is this superpower idea.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it since I turned in the last rewrite. Your superpower is being Michael Reuter. You cannot transmit the superpower of being Michael Reuter
Yeah.
to John Doe.
Yeah.
Are you willing to consider letting go of the superpower analogy, or do you think there's something there?
No,
I'm not asking you to let go of it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because it's not realistic to tell this story and use this "what is your superpower" hook, and then people think, well, what's mine so that I can find happiness? Because that's just not how it works, unfortunately. So not everyone's going to find something, and other people are going to have, well, I can't put myself in your shoes. I haven't had that bad shit happen, so I can't take the 180 to whatever. So I think it's more about this project is happiness for me, like growth, right?
Mhm.
Growth is what's happiness for me. It's very simple. Like,
There's a concept that is used in regard to what you're talking about, and it's not that we become ourselves, it's that we become who we are meant to be.
Right.
That who Michael Reuter or anyone else who's listening to this is meant to be is just a little bit beyond where we are. And we continue to grow so we can reach there, and then once we're there, then it's a little bit more beyond us. And that process continues to the end. People have been trying to tell other people the path to happiness since man first learned to speak.
Yeah.
You know, you are the latest in a very long line. Some people have gotten rich telling other people how to be happy. Most of them are frauds.
Yeah.
Most of them are charlatans.
So notice what I'm doing here now. I took you into the pit moment, and the pit was me on the kitchen floor, so every story has a pit. You go into the pit, it's the vulnerability, that vulnerable, dark moment on the kitchen floor where I had pause about sharing this with people. What would they think? I overdosed from drugs in that home.
What's up, Ted?
you know, I think you both, for the most part, especially you, know the story pretty much inside and out. And I wanted your guys' help with, I'm on stage, I'm telling this whole story, and there's supposed to be a takeaway, right? So it's like the story has trauma, grief, it touches on PTSD, anxiety, addiction, depression. Like, I could make the story about any one of these things and target those audiences or whatever. But for me, originally, when I originally wrote it, I had like a find your superpower type of theme, right? And for me, that was being able to overcome adversity and put what's important in life into perspective.
I think, as we were talking before, that content is always evergreen and it can change. So I would say don't necessarily place such an emphasis on having to get it perfectly right just this time, because you have the rest of your life to tell the story, and you're still figuring out exactly what it means and how it can be most inspirational.
I mean, it just so happens that I can relate to a lot in this story, right? Like, I can relate to anxiety, I can relate to loss. You know, I've lost family members,
Right.
not necessarily in that fashion, but
Yeah, but it's not.
anxiety
right?
is something that guys typically never want to talk about because it demasculates us.
You make
right?
it makes you weaker, but I think it actually makes you stronger.
Right, and so like a panic attack, a real panic attack feels like you're dying.
They are the scariest thing in
You think
the
you're
world.
dying, and you can't breathe, and it's like
think-
terrible. And there's people that like they deal with that on a daily basis, and they don't talk about it. And if they realize if they talked about it and shared it with other people, and they see other people that are doing well,
I was getting them all the time. It was the worst thing in the world.
I think another theme for this could be how transparent and vulnerable you are and how that leads to power. I think that's something you can elevate as part of your platform and talk explicitly about during the speech, which is that your worldview is being vulnerable, is actually uplifting for yourself and for those around you.
Play on the theme.
Just by telling your stories in such a vulnerable, transparent way, that could help the audience to do the same thing.
Yeah. That's good.
So, obviously, with the coronavirus right now, I can't do what I intended to do and go out and speak on stages and interact with people live and share my story. So I decided to pivot, throw up a video camera, make my own Goldcast video, throw it on the internet, see what happens, go from there. Wayne, my uncle, my best friend, was face down on the floor, sprawled out in the pool of blood, murdered. Wayne, my uncle, my best friend, was face down on the floor, sprawled out in the pool of blood, murdered. Wayne, my uncle, my best friend, was face down on the floor, sprawled out in the pool of blood, murdered. The only reason I'm able to live a happy life today is because I found the courage to open up, talk about my PTSD, anxiety, depression, mental sufferings, everything I've been through, how it makes me feel. Right now we're facing this crazy pandemic, circumstances that we've never seen before. So now is the time. I wanted to remind anyone who may be suffering in silence to remember you are not alone. Sharing your story does not make you weak. Sharing your story makes you strong. Sharing my story is the only reason that I'm able to live a happy life. So don't suffer in silence. Share.
When did you make that?
Last Saturday. Because remember I was like practicing the speech at your house? You found all those poster boards where I was like using it to memorize?
Downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we had like stages I was gonna go to and give the speech on and stuff. But since we can't do that now, I was like, fuck it, I'll just film it and just put it on social media for now instead and see where we go from there.
I guess, what are you expecting back from people?
Mate, the best thing that could happen is someone sees it, that needs help and goes and gets help, and I never even know about it. But I don't know. Maybe people will call me a loser, but I don't care about that. I would absolutely refer anyone who's looking to get help with social media content and branding to Realty Reputations and Todd Collins. When I came to Todd Collins and his company, he organized everything that I had. He gave me direction and an end goal. And not only did he just give me advice and the direction to go on that, but he helped me execute everything. Once we make this Goldcast video, what do you think I should do? Post it to Facebook, YouTube, all that. Just put it out there on my social media channels. I know I can market it. I'm gonna put it in all the groups that it applies to: mental health, addiction, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Mike, with something like this has got to be all calculated.
Yeah.
This is all looking at the data, and deciding. It could be a week before we post, and this is going to be all about looking at the data and deciding when is the right time to do this.
Yeah.
That's what it's all going to come down to: the day, the time. Which day, on which time, on which platform, it's all going to be. It's got to be calculated for the best
Yeah.
success.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna write down a whole plan for the Goldcast video. So today is June 15th, 2020, and I'm almost 2 years sober. So coronavirus hits, stages get canceled. Basically, just filmed the speech at my house. I'm just gonna release it on social media. Stepped over broken glass and bullet casings. Got down on my knees. Turned my uncle over, placed his face in my lap.
I saw your post, man, and I watched it, and that was big, man. And you are my hero for doing that type of stuff.
Hey Michael, saw your video. Just wanted to reach out and let you know that your vulnerability and your willingness to share the darkest times of your life has really inspired me. Can't wait to see where this journey takes me, and one day be able to tell my story the same way you tell yours.
I posted on June 15th. Look, by June 17th or 18th, it was the way Facebook works. It gets shared.
Yeah.
So it got This one got almost 200,000 views in a couple days. 1.1 likes. Yeah, I got like hundreds of messages. I had people that I know very, very close to me, that some of them you know, come to me and tell me that they've never told anybody else, and they told me they wanted to kill themselves. And you're like, holy fuck, you get some messages from people, and I have conversations, and it's like magical conversations. Seriously, it's magical. And it's like somebody else has to be in that same boat or in your club or whatever. And then like the power you two can have through a conversation is unbelievable.
So what are your next steps here with your goal cast? And
what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna continue like trying to help people, and I'm just trying to figure out the most effective way to do so. So like grow with my audience, whatever, maybe.
Please turn left in 900 feet onto South Highland Avenue.
What's up, man? Basically, I wanted to get on stages and like talk like motivational storytelling and whatever for like entrepreneurs or for any topic really, any different kind of event or stage really where it fits. So now instead of just doing that, where we can package up a couple different types of things, like, and then the song obviously being one of them. So
You got it together? You got it run through?
Yeah.
Was December 26, 2009. What I saw that night changed my life for a lifetime. I walked in my uncle's store with my heart full of love and found him laying dead in a pool full of blood. My heart went cold and my mind went numb. Put his face in my lap, filled with holes from the gun. My life full of pain, depression, and fear. Working toward moving forward without my best friend.
Putting out this type of content, which I want to create on a more of a mass volume and a scale level. Plain and simple, it's marketing, and the business is getting out of the darkness, finding your happiness, saying no to being a victim, saying no to feeling sorry for yourself, and fucking going and getting to the light, because it's fucking there.
I used to look at other people and say to myself, your life did not get turned upside down by death, murder, cancer, and trauma. I'm alone in my own mental prison cell of hell. It doesn't matter who or what I want to be. It only matters who I am because of what has happened to me. I'll go as deep and as dark as this road takes me until I lose everything, or maybe my life. Until I won't anymore. When I look in the mirror now, I will not see what has happened to me and let it define me. I'll see the person who I was meant to be. I'll use my journey for something greater than myself to provide hope and inspire others who are suffering in silence. Today is August 23rd, 2020, and I am 2 years sober. Each day get closer to where I'm going and further from where I once was. The last 2 years I've found a passion and desire to help others. I've met, spoke to, and messaged with countless people suffering in silence. I received one message in particular from a person I never met. A person who told me that sharing my story gave her the strength to tell her family she planned on killing herself. Maybe I saved her life. To my mother.
If someone responded and said, why'd you waste your time on this? I'd say, maybe it's the way it makes me feel. I don't know. Selfishly, I think it like gives me a purpose for all like the pain that I've been through and that I have, and like lets me channel it in a positive way. Maybe it's my new drug. I used to love drugs. That thrill, the high. Like, you're fucking nobody, and then you fucking get high, and you're like, all of a sudden, a superstar. Maybe this is the way I'm still a superstar. I don't know.
The moment I have a second to be selfish is dangerous for me. Because I don't want to drink. I love being sober. I love calling my mom sober, thinking about the future. Like, I love it. But I also am nervous about how much future there is.
What do you mean?
Every
You
day.
think you have a short life expectancy?
No, I get nervous of how much time I have left to stay this way.
Oh, well, you know
I
what?
used to not worry about that.
Okay.
I used to
That's
be
why
like, I've come
people
so far.
Go to meetings.
I know.
That's why people have sponsors. This is not about lecturing you, Michael.
I know that.
It really isn't.
You can lecture me at another time.
Well, I mean, really all I want to do is to...
I'm human.
I know you are. I know you are. But you're still driving the bus, man, and the bus is going to crash.
Yeah.
You seem to know that.
I mean, I've been close to relapsing plenty of times. Holding the bottle, deciding, right?
Holding the bottle, really? Tell me about the most recent occurrence. Did you lick the lip? Did you lick the...
I put the bottle in my... I didn't taste it. I put the bottle in my mouth like it was the barrel of a gun. And I was like, fuck.
Capped or uncapped?
Uncapped. And I hated that you just asked me that because it was recent, and I'm like...
How recent?
I don't know.
Yesterday?
No, Saturday.
Week? Saturday. So Saturday you had a bottle of booze in your mouth. And I love that you said it was like a gun, right?
That's what I thought when it was in my mouth.
So if the bottle goes off and you drink it,
we're not standing here right now, I'll tell you that.
No, and you've got bullet wounds in the face like Uncle Wayne. Goes off in your face.